Hey, MadLab Nation, how you guys doing? Rainmaker podcast. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Monday again, ready to hit it, right? You guys are doing it, getting together with your fellow coworkers, and hopefully getting your goals completed and all the tasks you got to do. And this is important. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this idea of team. Rainmaker 201 is about the sales process, interviewing process, and Rainmaker 301 is about team building. Its focus is on how you and your colleagues are getting together at work to hopefully achieve each other's individual and collective objectives. And I don't know if you're a fan of sports or not. I'm a big fan of college football and professional basketball and baseball, and love to watch team sports. Not that I don't like individual sports, but even individual sports, when you're watching, for instance, a single player playing tennis, there's a bunch of people that support that person, right? And so even though when we watch team sports like football or baseball or hockey, my Columbus Blue Jackets are actually moving through the playoffs. We're pretty excited about that. And it is exciting to watch the dynamics of multiple people with a singular objective working together to achieve that objective. And that's really what the Rainmaker 301 program is about, some classical team training, based on a particular book by Macmillan and a model they use to build teams. And, one of the most important things about teams, right, is team cohesiveness. And I don't know if you've been watching NFL football lately and the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you're a football fan, if not, briefly to let you know, there's been some significant disruption on their team. One player in particular, but a couple players I think are involved in this. And what's amazing to me is just a massive organization, like a professional football team, with literally, hundreds of people involved, coaches and players and strength conditioning specialists and medical teams and front office and back office. And one or two players, one or two team members can just create havoc and really cause a lot of problems. It's amazing to me to see how that happens and how challenging it is for the management, the coaching staff, for players, high-level professional players who just aren't getting along and causing a lot of trouble in the locker room and between management and administrative staff, and how just one can just ruin the whole thing and blow up the culture, and how teams have to decide often over talent and that person's ability to contribute to the team's objectives, and when they're causing a lot of problems and disruptions, who cares how talented they are? They got to go. And one of the things that I've found over the years in helping groups of folks in the fitness business and in other industries as I walk them through this team building process is to realize that it may be the case in your gym between your workers and colleagues and coaches and utility coaches and managers. If there's a problem, there's some disruption, there's a disease in your organization, and this program will flush that out and help you fix that. Because one of the most important things outside of what we talked about previously in terms of the choice to cooperate, right, in an interdependent, interconnected, and interacting way, the only way that people can choose to cooperate in a cohesive manner is everyone has to share a common purpose, and the common purpose is the reason to cooperate. It's the motivation where they will take their volition and their free will and their energy and time and treasure and all the things they can bring to the table and talent to bring to bear on helping get to the common purpose. And so, in order to have a winner, Paul Bear Bryant said, the team must have a feeling of unity, and every player must put the team first ahead of personal glory. This is tough. It's tough. As much as we don't like to admit it, we're often selfish, arrogant creatures, and we want what we want. We're offended easily. we're not recognized. We don't feel like at appropriate levels for what we do. And so we, maybe consciously or unconsciously start a little bit of sabotage within the organization that we're disgruntled with for whatever reason. This is a problem. And if you're an owner listening to me right now and a manager of people, you might already know about this in your own group, right? You've got some bad apples in there. And you got some people who are more interested in their own personal ambitions and selfish desires. And that's okay. They got to go. They got to go. Because if everyone can't look at and identify their own personal and professional ambitions and goals and find how they align with the group's goals, the gym's goals, then they shouldn't be there. And this is a tough reality. And it's often painful in the short run, because in order to even identify the thing that you're unifying around as a group, you've got to have a clear and compelling and common task statement, a clear statement about what you're doing and what your objective is and what your goal is. And success really is the product, right, of this unremitting attention to purpose. That you're waking up when you choose to put your professional hat on for the day and go to work, that you know the purpose, you know what you're doing. It's clear. It's clear to you. It's clear to everyone else around you. And everyone's focused on whatever they're doing, time, treasure, and talent-wise, on collapsing onto that objective. And so when you're looking at developing a clear, compelling task statement, it's the first job in this particular Rainmaker 301 course is what has to be done. It needs to be understandable. It needs to be repeatable. It needs to be shareable. It needs to be simple. It needs to be believable. It's got to be compelling. It's got to challenge people. We talked about comfort zones, right? And you got to get a little bit outside your comfort zone in order to get your attention and your intention and that little bit of optimal anxiety, if you remember our last podcast, in order to really get things moving. It's got to be the right thing to do. It's got to be ethical. It's got to be morally correct. It's got to be important. And everyone has to feel like it's an important, significant, and impactful thing to do. And it can't be mystical pie in the sky stuff that no one really believes is going to happen. And there's got to be a value benefit in the community for everybody at the individual level as well as the group level. And so that's really fundamental. You can't do anything else as a gym, as a group of coaches and utility coaches and owners and whoever else you got on board if it's not clear, compelling, and common amongst your crew what's going on and what you guys are trying to do every day. Because if not, everyone will just kind of settle to the lowest common denominator of their own personal selfish desires and put forth minimal effort in order just to kind of get through and show up until they figure out something more exciting to do. And I'm often, and I'm guilty of this as well, surprised at how often we're willing to hang in there in work situations that just aren't going in the direction you want. And they're not fun. And it's not that work should be fun, 24/7. There's going to be times where it sucks, right? But for the most part, it's got to be something you enjoy and you're passionate about, even when you're doing the dirty things you don't like doing and the mundane routine things that are part of the process, as long as you've got support and you got each other's backs as it goes. And so if this is not happening for you and you're listening to this podcast right now going, oh, crap, Mac's right. I don't have a team in my gym. It's just a group of people. Everybody's got a row, an oar in the rowboat, but some people are rowing in the wrong direction. Somebody's got their oar pulled out of the water. They're not even rowing. The person steering isn't sure where they're steering to, and it's just kind of a controlled chaos situation. And the only thing holding it together is people like exercise and being fit, right? And this isn't good enough. And so we need to get everybody in the boat. We got to get the place the boat's supposed to go. We got to get everybody with a strong oar in the water, and everybody knows their job and rowing in what direction they got to row, and get that situated, because you'll get off purpose real fast once your team's not aligned. and you're going to have some problems. And so team alignment and cohesiveness, especially when it gets rough, is about understanding a clear, compelling task statement that everyone buys into, and that is clear for everyone to see and know about, and it's clear what their contributions to that can be. And so that's the message I had for you today about team building and working with team. A lot of people like to use the word team to describe their gym, and they're not. I see it all the time. We're a team. And when you dig in and peel back all the superficial layers of everyone being nice and friendly, you see some serious problems there, and they're just boiling up, and it's not cool and not necessary. And so if you're interested in looking at, pulling your group of people together and turning them into a high-powered dynamic team, Rainmaker 301, let's get on board with that thing. Let's get you started so we can do it. But I would invest some time both at the leadership level, as well as utility coaches who might only, work 6 hours a week. They're contributing, and they got to know what they're doing as well, and they can cause problems just as much as a full-time leader can. So leadership, team members, team concept, compelling task statement, it's got to be done. Okay, you guys, good luck, and we'll keep this conversation going in the next few podcasts.